Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.
I'm Ed Zackery, Director of the Medina County Veterans Service Office. Welcome to Salute to Service, a show about Medina County and our veterans. What we hope to capture in this program are some of the many achievements, heroic deeds, and sacrifices of our past and present warriors from here in Medina County. We also hope to highlight the many accomplishments that they have continued to make as veterans right here in our community. Again, welcome to Salute to Service. Today I have Jack Forrester here from the Medina VFW and the Marine Corps League joining me. How you doing, Jack?
Very good.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
And you are a United States Marine Corps, right?
Right.
All right. So how long have you been the commander down there at the VFW?
I'm going on my third year now.
Third year. And you've been a member there for quite some time, I take it?
Correct. About 8 years in total.
Okay. And Vietnam veteran?
Vietnam vet.
And I guess, you know, I always start out kind of asking, you know, what made you join the military?
Well, it was during the Vietnam War era, and 1967, and I was graduating from high school, and you know, you look to want to serve your country and do what you can, and to me, you know, joining the Marine Corps and serving my country was the most important thing at that time.
Right. And not unlike the veterans of today that are joining, you knew you were pretty much going to war back in 1967 with the Vietnam War in full swing.
That's correct.
Right, and takes a little bit different type of person to raise their hand at that point, doesn't it?
I guess so, yeah.
So you joined the Marine Corps, you went off to, where'd you go, Parris Island or?
Parris Island, and then did infantry training at Camp Lejeune, and then guerrilla warfare training out in California.
Now how was Parris Island? Was it pretty tough?
It was tough, but I mean, the physical conditioning is something you get easily adjusted to pretty quickly. The mental toughness comes through the program, and you know, the mental toughness is the biggest thing you gain, because you keep that the rest of your life.
Right. Basic training, they put in one type of person and bring out another, though.
Exactly.
You grow up, you do. So you got out of Parris Island, you went up to Camp Lejeune, infantry training. Do all the Marines go through infantry training, or is it just certain? I know in the Army, you know, everybody has their certain job. In the Marine Corps, does everybody go through the infantry? Or?
Pretty much everybody goes through infantry, as far as I'm aware. I mean, the Marine Corps is everybody carries a rifle.
Right. So how long were you up at Camp Lejeune?
Camp Lejeune, I was there about 3 months, and then went out to Pendleton in California for follow-up training, and then from there had a leave to go home before I went over Vietnam.
So you went right from all your training, you know, 6-8 months a year, maybe right into Vietnam.
Correct.
Straight leg infantryman, I take it?
Yes.
Okay, so you're at home on leave. What's mom and dad think about the Vietnam thing?
Well, you know, my ma was very, very worried, very concerned. Dad, he was a World War II vet, and so, you know, he's more of you know, you got to do what you got to do, you know, and be there and do your job. So, you know, but mom was always worried.
Right. Now, did you grow up around here in Medina, or?
I actually grew up in Parma.
Parma. Okay. So, what was your thoughts when you're leaving home, getting ready to go off to war? What's the thought process that you're going through in 1967, 1968? Well,
I mean, there's a level of excitement. It's a new experience. You've come out of high school, and now you're becoming, you know, sort of your own man, and it's a new level of commitment. There's a level of concern there too, but I think the excitement sort of outweighs everything else, and that you're going to be doing something for the country and in the military and part of something bigger.
So how long did you spend in Vietnam?
I spent 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah, then I was wounded up by Khe Sanh.
Okay, so you received a Purple Heart?
Yes.
Came home after that?
Yes.
Did you stay in the Marine Corps for a certain amount of time after that, or did they discharge you because of your wounds?
Well, I stayed in the Marine Corps for a while. When I was wounded, I was on the hospital ship Repose for a couple weeks, and then spent a couple months in the hospital in Guam, and then was at Bethesda Naval Hospital for a couple months. And as I was outpatient at Bethesda is when I got married to my wife in '68, and then I was at Headquarters Marine Corps for a little while, and then Camp Lejeune. My wife and I stayed there for a year and a half before we got discharged.
Got discharged. Anything you want to talk about Vietnam? Key things that happened over there? What it was like?
Well, Vietnam was. It was a jungle warfare type environment. The comradeship and the people that you served with, you were extremely close, as any kind of combat situation. The training that you were given, you were glad to have that training because it protected you, through the combat. We were in a lot of different combat situations there, and you do the best you can,
right.
And everybody protects each other.
Looking back, hindsight, any regrets on going to Vietnam?
No, I mean, coming out of Vietnam created a high sense of motivation and urgency with my life, right. And appreciation for what I had. I think over the next 40 years, gave me a level of motivation that was way beyond what I would have ever experienced having not gone in the service.
Now, when you came home, obviously your dad's a World War II veteran. We knew what the world was like after World War II and the veterans, and you come home to a completely different world from what your father came home to.
Correct.
And there's, this is always talked about amongst Vietnam veterans, World War II veterans, and even the veterans of today. But how did you feel when you came home as far as the way the rest of the country was treating you? In some areas it was worse than others, but how did you get treated and how did you feel?
Well, in a way, I came home on, on a hospital plane.
Right.
So I avoided all that airport impacts that other troops were experiencing coming into
right.
the airports. But and it was disappointing to see, the way the people were reacting to the war and to the veterans, and it was almost like blaming the veteran. And for me, and I think a lot of Vietnam veterans, we started just turning things off.
Right.
We didn't participate in veteran organizations. We didn't do a lot of things back then. And some people had a lot of emotional issues to deal with and wrestle with, and none of those kinds of things existed in the veterans hospitals and veterans organizations, not like they do today. Right. So my focus was work, and I would work 14, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, and you just got locked into that mental attitude. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, my wife and family, over time, got me back to, sort of a more realistic lifestyle.
Right. You said that you came home and the things didn't exist in the VA that do today, and as a veteran of today, I got to honestly say that thank you, because they exist today because of the guys like you that came home from Vietnam. You guys, you came home to a different world in the World War II vets, and obviously a different world than we came home to from Iraq and Afghanistan, but you changed that for us. Look at the last 30 years of the VA and where it's come because of the Vietnam veteran that has fought for you know, they've continued to fight for those benefits, those rights, and stuff like that. So that's a huge step. So you came home, you said you really didn't, you know, the veterans organizations really weren't what you'd gotten into. When did you join the VFW or the Marine Corps League? At what point did they feel, or did you feel accepted to join something like that?
Well, it was only about 8 years ago when I joined the organizations. I'm a member of the American Legion, the Marine Corps League, the VFW, and the DAV, and Purple Heart, and it was only about 8 years ago that I started to participate, and it was as I was retiring and having more time and looking back at it and realizing those organizations were there for people like myself.
Right.
And over time I became more and more involved in the organizations, and it's been extremely rewarding, great friendships and people, and you know, we get to do a lot of great things for you know, active service members as well as those that you know, need help that have been in the service.
And it's good that some of that animosity is being put behind by the nation. I mean, never, you know, so. Now you've been the commander of the VFW in Medina for going on 3 years, right?
Correct.
Now you guys, I mean, I know what you do out there. You guys are always out in the community doing different things, but let's tell everybody else what you do. What's some of the things that the VFW does for the community?
Well, not too long ago, Original Mattress Factory, for instance, gave us 10 hospital beds that had dual motors in. Plus we had some wheelchairs and other things, so we took those up to the Sandusky Veterans Home.
Okay.
So, you know, that's one way of working with organizations that have things that they want to donate to the community or to veterans. We did the Wounded Warrior Project earlier
this year. Which was a huge success.
Yeah, we were extremely pleased with that. We raised over $45,000. The community and all the support we had. The National Guard in Medina on Lafayette Road had 40 of their troops there helping support it, a lot of other volunteers. And it created great awareness in the community about the Wounded Warriors. So we were real fortunate with that. We do events that are open to the public to try and create more awareness. We do things at the hospital on a regular basis where we go out and do hospital treats. We do things like you know, visits with the schools. We also have Voice of Democracy for high school students as a way to earn some scholarship money. Patriots Pen, which is another essay for junior high students where they can also earn money. We have Scout of the Year Award, Teacher of the Year. So there's a number of those community programs that we have to try and get community members involved. And we'll be having, right now, Patriots Pen and Voice of Democracy are both programs have just started. Applications are due by November 1st, and you know, I hope that we get a number of those applications.
I don't think a lot of people realize that a lot of what you do has nothing to do with veterans. You're there as a community resource, and you do a lot just for the community, whether you're a veteran or not, and are a big part of the community.
Well, that's true. We try to, I mean, one way of being involved with the community is, you know, is another way of sort of educating people about the Veterans Organization in a positive light. You know, we're doing things to help, like Relay for Life or a variety of other programs where we help raise money for the community and participate with other organizations, other charity organizations. So that's been, you know, a great learning experience for me as you move up into the positions in the you know, the VFW. You know, you start understanding more and more the role that you can play as an organization.
Now, one of the big things that you do, and you didn't touch on this, but and a lot of people know it and a lot of people don't, but is the color guard down at the National Cemetery and also other cemeteries throughout the county, not just your VFW, but all the VFWs and American Legions have color guards.
Correct.
And that is a huge service to our veterans that pass away down there and to their family members who really appreciate it. You guys are out there in just about every kind of weather. And I always like to tell people that because I have people ask me, are those soldiers? And I always say, well, did you look at them? Because some of us are getting up there with some gray hair to be soldiers, but most of them don't realize that you're all volunteers out there.
Correct.
102 degrees or below zero, you're out there saluting our veterans as they're being interred, and that's important. So, I like people to know that these guys that are out there doing that are all volunteers. Now, you wear another hat with the Marine Corps League also.
Correct.
It's the VFW commander. The Marine Corps League has a big event coming up for Christmas time.
Correct. The Toys for Tots are coming up.
Tots.
And you can get applications for those that are in need and can use some toys for the holidays, and you can get those at the public library and different places. Mm-hmm. And then also donations. Some ladies' organizations or other types of organizations do fundraisers, and they collect toys. Right. Companies collect toys. There's a number of companies that have done an outstanding job. Panther Trucking, for instance, in Medina County has done a phenomenal job. So that, again, is a way that the community comes together to help.
I know we have applications in our office for people that need toys for their children, and then we also have a collection box in our office for those that want to drop off toys. Have to be brand new toys, still wrapped, correct?
Correct.
Don't wrap them up with Christmas paper or anything like that. Just leave them in the packaging. You can bring them to our office. There's several other drop-off points throughout the county. Now, you guys generally give out to about 1,300 or 1,400 kids, am I correct, throughout the whole county?
Correct.
And those kids have to have no ties to a veteran or anything. They just have to be a child in need.
Exactly.
That's a great function. And Toys for Tots, it's a national drive that the Marines do. I know.
Right.
When I was a young private down at Fort Bliss, I worked the warehouse with the Marines down there, even though I was in the Army, and I couldn't believe the amount of toys they had in there. It was like a kid in a candy store, but thousands and thousands of toys that they had down at Fort Bliss. So it's great for Medina County, and if you can give, I urge you to come on out to our office and drop off a brand new toy for Christmas and help a child in need throughout Medina County this year. You have another fundraiser event that's coming up in the very near future here that supports Wounded Warrior. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Jack?
Yes, that's correct. In working with the Medina County Showbiz Company, they're looking to do a fundraiser for Wounded Warrior, and it's a murder mystery, murder mystery, so that sounds real exciting. The play is the Murder at Rutherford House.
Okay.
The event right now is being scheduled for sometime later in February next year, and we're just working through the details of that right now.
Great. So when you get that, we'll make sure we get the information out on the show and get some advertising on it. That'd be a great event to support.
Absolutely.
Let's go back a little bit to your service. What's the number one, or maybe a series of things that is a memory or a life-changing event or a significant thing that happened in your time in service that's shaped Jack Forrester today?
Well, having been in combat and the teamwork that is required to be successful in a combat situation, I mean, the watching each other's back, the trust you have with the other soldiers, those types of things just never leave you. I mean, there was one event where we had a guy wounded severely, and giving him mouth to mouth and being able to resuscitate him and keeping him alive until we were able to helicopter him out. It was just. I mean, I think that was the most important thing I could have done in the war at that time.
Mm-hmm. Very rewarding, I assume.
Yes.
It's funny because when you look at a war, people are always looking at the big picture, the patriotism, what it does for the country. But the guys that fight it, when you talk to them, it's very small to them. It's the guy on your left and right. And the big picture really doesn't matter sometimes.
Exactly.
So. With that said, Jack, any words of advice, last words to guys, today's soldiers, Marines, airmen, sailors that are getting out of the service, coming back from combat? Anything you tell them that, you know, maybe you did that helped you, or that you didn't do that maybe you wish you did?
Well, I think one thing is, which I didn't do, was you know, get involved with a veterans organization like the VFW or American Legion, Marine Corps League. You don't have to overly commit. You don't have to do a lot, but you know, resources are there. Right. Your comrades are there. If you need help, people are there. Right. It's a place to go where people have similar experiences, that you can feel comfortable, you can feel relaxed. There's a lot of benefits to those type of organizations. And if you need help, we're there to help. Right. Not only the veterans of the VA hospital, but the other veterans organizations are there for the little things to big things. We recently helped a family with medical bills because it was something that they could not cover themselves, and so we were there for them, and right. We're happy to do those kind of things. Yeah.
But it's other people that are going through the same problems you have, that whether you're there every day or whether you're there once a month, sometimes it's just somebody to reach out to get some help from.
Correct.
That's a great thing. A couple things I just want to talk about real quick is, we got Tank the Truck starting this month. The veterans organizations throughout the county supported this last year. No one should be dirty for Christmas, and we're trying to get laundry detergent to give out to those people throughout our community, not just veterans that need laundry detergent during the Christmas season. So if anybody wants to donate laundry detergent, Tank the Truck, it's on our website. You can drop it off at our office. We'd appreciate whatever donations you can as far as laundry detergent goes. And I want to wish the sailors from the Navy a happy birthday. It's the Navy's birthday this month, and also all the leathernecks out there, United States Marine Corps, it's also their birthday. I hope everyone has a safe and happy Veterans Day, and I want to thank Jack Forrester from the VFW and Marine Corps League and American Legion for being with us today. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you very much.
And you all have a good holiday season. Thank you.
Excuse me, are you Santa Claus? I heard you might be him. If you are him, here's my list.
Help the Marines make Christmas possible for less fortunate children. Donate a new toy to Toys for Tots.
Here's Santa Claus.
We all share a common journey. We wanted to serve our country, stand for something bigger than ourselves, and protect the things we love. Although we were ready to face any mission, help those in need, and make a difference, for some of us, coming home was more of a challenge than we expected. In the service, we had each other's backs. But as veterans, it can sometimes feel like we're all alone, even when surrounded by our loved ones.
At the Veterans Crisis Line, we understand what you're going through, and we can help. It's your call.